Good morning. Hey, how are y'all? Okay, let's just jump right into it. I am back. It's Monday, and I'm actually releasing on a Monday. I feel like that's us moving in the right direction if you ask me. Really, I'm not in a space that I'm usually at. I'm not in one of my many home locations, but what I am is on a work trip. I'm on a work trip with my friend, my business partner, my bestie. And we were sitting down and we were chit chatting about just like stories and things that have happened. And I was like, you know what? Only real friends swap these crazy, embarrassing stories. So you guys are my real friends. And I said, I should tell you guys some embarrassing stories. Like, this is going to be a very lighthearted video. And I'm really not too excited to share my painful moments in life with you guys. And I feel like there are levels to embarrassing stories, right? Like, for example, I just got my hair done by Patrice Monique. Very good job. I enjoyed it. I will link all of her things in the bio below as I adjust my hair. There are levels to it. So I went to go get my hair done, and she is a fan of Sisters Who Kill. So I was talking to her about that, and I said, oh, well, I'll make a TikTok there to do like a little shout out. And we agreed on it. I told her what the TikTok was going to be, and she was like, great, I'm on board. Let's do it. So I get there and we make the first clip. This first clip, I don't actually have to meet her. It's kind of like, you guys will see it. I haven't posted it yet. I will. Then for some reason, like when it came to start like making the TikTok while she was working, I felt embarrassed to interrupt her to be like, hey, can I make this TikTok? But it was something that we both wanted. So there was levels to embarrassment, and to the point where she was like, don't you have to make your TikTok? And I was like, you're right. I do. I just sometimes feel embarrassed to do the things that I always do because now I'm doing it in front of people, and I do a lot of things alone. So that's really not embarrassing. That's more self induced embarrassment. Hey, I made it through. So I was trying to figure out like what embarrassing stories to tell. And some of them I'm not going to tell you guys. Like I was telling Taz one yesterday, and I was like, there's no way ever that anybody outside of you is ever going to hear this story. It was the most embarrassing thing in my entire life. But I decided, okay, well, let me like go through the years of my life. So I have a elementary school, a middle school, a high school, and then I was really trying to figure out college, and I was like, did I just have no shame in college? But I kind of found like a high school, grad school one that is pseudo embarrassing. So, and they're all different levels of embarrassment. So, we're really excited to dive right into them. Okay, so elementary school. I don't remember what grade I was in per se, but I know that I was in elementary school. And it was the time when those cool watches, you were getting those cool, like Nickelodeon, SpongeBob, all the cool watches in your Happy Meals. They don't make Happy Meal toys the same, but it was back when you got those. And I remember I was so excited about getting this watch and having a watch to just like look and know what time it was. So at the time, I don't remember. I guess I was lamer than I thought I was. I mean, I was kind of always a kind of a weirdo. Like I never really hit popular status. Even in high school, like I was very well known, but I wouldn't have considered myself one of the popular people. Like I definitely wasn't a trendsetter. You know what I'm saying? In elementary school, I remember this so clearly. There was this girl who was the popular girl, some white girl, and she was like, can somebody tell me what time it is? And I'm like, oh, it's my time to shine because I have my watch. I'm like, it's 12:30. And she looks at me and she goes, I said, can somebody, not nobody. I did not get that she was calling me a nobody until I got home that evening. Everybody laughed and I didn't really get the joke. And then I got home and I was like, She just called me a nobody. I was pretty embarrassed and people laughed. I had no idea. And I think that's the worst type of embarrassment, when you are being embarrassed, shamed, talked about, and you have no idea why people are laughing. It was humiliating. And then it went on for about a week. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't very long. It was the it line. It was the it line. It went on for about a week where everybody would say it because she said it. Can somebody tell me this and this? I said a somebody, not a nobody. So I guess everybody ended up being a nobody, but it started with me. It started with her actually calling me a nobody. So I enjoyed elementary school. I went to a couple of different elementary schools, jumped around for a bit, and then I did half of middle school at an elementary school. It was like a school that went from kindergarten through seventh grade, and then eighth and ninth grade I went to boarding school. So in eighth grade, when I was in boarding school, it was a very small school, and sporting events were mandatory. So what they would do is shut down the dorms. You couldn't go to the dorms, so you had to go to the sporting event, or you had to go to whatever. So there was a baseball game, and I was dating this guy at the time. He was my boyfriend, and we were at the baseball game. So we were at the baseball game, and to go and use the restroom, you had to go from the field and go up to the wood shop. I loved wood shop in middle school. So we went up to wood shop, and he walked me up there so that I could go to the restroom. And so now here we are, the eighth graders, alone in the wood shop. Ooh, steamy, right? Because they were pretty strict. Like, I wasn't going to like a bad kids boarding school, but like they were still pretty strict. There were things that you could not do. Like, definitely wasn't any like Zoe one-on-one going into each other's dorm. So we could just like, it was regular middle school where we could see each other, we liked each other, but there was still that distance. So here we are in woodshop. Oh, I was excited. So I used the restroom like normal, totally fine. And then we start making out in woodshop. I thought I was grown. So we're making out at woodshop. I'm trying to be, I am awkward. I am awkward. Like, I have always been awkward. I don't do sexy well. Even now, like, I think that I'm a sexy person, but I don't do sexy well. Like, if I try too hard with sexy, it never works out, even now. So I'm trying too hard, right? I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna like straddle your legs, and I'm gonna, ooh, yeah, we're gonna make out, right? So we're making out, and I don't know, I'm probably just eating this guy's face. Poor guy. This is as much action as any of us have gotten at this point. So I'm, he's stiff, clothes totally on, having a good time. And then I look down and I see this like red dot on my pants, and I am like, what did you do? And it's on his pants too. And I'm like, what did you do? Like, is this what it is? Like, did you get this on? We have to go back to the, I can't go back to the dorm. I have to go back to the football game with this on me. Like, what did you do? What has come out of your, what has done it? What has come out of you and gotten onto my pants? And he's like, it's not me. It's not me. I'm like, yes, it is. How could you possibly, why are you not drinking water? Like, this is the lack of water. And I'm like going in on him. I'm telling him all about himself. I couldn't have been me, right? And you guys, I was a late bloomer. So I go back to the dorm. I'm like sitting there at the baseball game. I'm just trying for this game to be over, because how could he do this to me? Like, how, what came out of him through his pants onto my pants? How could this have and it was like a perfect little circle of dots. So I really thought that he did it. So the game finally is over. We're finally able to go back to our dorms. I go to the restroom. It was my period. And so I tore this dude a new one. Like, I told him all about himself. I was like, yo, I cannot believe that you would do this. How would you do this? It was totally me. And I don't think that I ever went back and told him that. I'm sure he knew. Because I'm sure he went to the dorm just like I did to check himself out. And he was like, no, this is not me. This is completely her. I was totally embarrassed. I was a late bloomer, and I've always been a late bloomer, like in everything in life, both like physically, um, like womanly, career wise. I'm always a late bloomer, but I try to think of like that Mulan saying where it's like the prettiest flower is always the last to bloom. I'm gonna keep telling myself that. So, moving on. That was actually more mortifying than I expected it to be. Okay, so this is probably the most embarrassing story of my life. I so like I said, I was in boarding school 8th and ninth grade, and I am not a trendsetter. I'm not a stylish girl. I put it on. I am not a trendsetter. So when I was in middle school, and I was at that performing arts middle school that went through K through seventh. I was only there for sixth and seventh grade, and there I became really close with this girl. She loves shoes. She loves fashion. She's a sneakerhead till this day. Loves shoes, and so that was 2006, 2007, and that is when Felines were very popular. I mean, everybody had the high top Felines with the strap, with the Velcro strap. Forever I Love Atlanta. That was the shoe. I wanted those shoes so badly. But my mom is still very much like a country. You got your school shoes, you got your church shoes, you got your play shoes. That's it. So I was never into shoes or sneakers or anything like that because I wasn't afforded those luxuries. So I remember that she had so many shoes. And one day she was like, you could just have these felines. And I was like, what? I could have the felines? Like, yes. So then the felines actually sat at my home while I was in boarding school. So that was 8th and ninth grade. I come back and I start public school in 10th grade. This is 2010. And I go and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to wear for school. It's my first time in public school. And so it had to have been maybe the second or third week of school. I had just started making like friends that would acknowledge me, and I was still very much the new kid. And I said, okay, well, what am I going to put on? And I said, oh, my felines. I'm so excited to finally wear them. I have the opportunity to wear them. I'm going to show them off. Like, I'm going to be that girl. Like, I'm so excited. Y'all, this is 2010 now. Felines are not in style anymore. They're not in style anymore. So I go to that school wearing them shoes. And I didn't even know that people roasted you about your shoes. I didn't even know that was a thing until that day. Every class I walked in, it was the first time. The first time someone was like, are those some felines? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, damn, them out of style. What kind of you did? I mean, just started wet. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm that far out of style. And then it didn't stop with the first period. No, no, no. My second, my third, every single period that I had that day, somebody was like, why you got them on? What kind of, what? It was, when that meme that we were like, what are those? I was the original. I was the original because all day, all day that day, the new kid was so horribly out of style. And I mean, like, I thought that when I left the house that morning, I thought that I was doing it. And I went home that day and threw those shoes in the trash because I still have not recovered. When felines came back in style, the chunky felines, when they came back in style, I did not want them. I just could not wear them. And I did buy one pair and I wore them one time. And then it looked like the trend was turning again and they were headed out of style, and I got rid of them so quickly. I said, I've got one outfit out of these. I still see felines and like I am so traumatized by that brand. And I was up there like, yeah, forever I love Atlanta, da, 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 da. Embarrassing. So I was trying to figure out what my embarrassing story from college was, and I really don't remember. Like, it was either that I had so many embarrassing stories that they just kind of have gone out of my brain, or that it was maybe more embarrassing for everybody else to be around me then I was actually embarrassed myself, which also could be the case. So I'm going to skip that because maybe I was embarrassing, maybe I wasn't, I'm not sure. However, when I got to grad school, there was one moment in particular where we're in voice class and I'm telling our voice, not singing voice, but like speaking voice, I'm an actress. And so we're telling our teacher like all the things that are stopping our voice. And I was like, I just don't get it. I was like, I love lip gloss. I love to look good. I like, things on my lips. I was like, but it's hurting my throat. Like, even the ones that the girls are loving that they're using consistently that are the most popular, if I wear them, my throat it gets itchy and like I can't sing. When I speak, it's raspy. It's not good. And so I'm telling her this. And then one of my white classmates is like, well, Mariah, you're not supposed to eat the lip gloss. You're supposed to put it on your lips. I think I'm aware that you're not supposed to eat the lip gloss and you're supposed to put it on your lips. But everybody thought it was so hilarious. And they thought that was so funny because Mariah was eating lip gloss. Mariah does not eat lip gloss. There's something in the lip gloss that hurts my throat. And I know that I'm right because I just randomly, I'm not a huge Billie Eilish fan, but every time I put on her music, I'm like, wow, why am I not a huge Billie Eilish fan? However, I randomly on YouTube saw an interview with her where she was like, I don't know what she was doing, but she was saying that she only uses Aquaphor on her lips for her concerts and pretty much all the time because everything else makes her throat itchy. And so I was like, I feel like maybe there are some preservatives or something in those lip glosses that I'm just having a bad reaction to, and I'm not going to the doctor to get like a test done on that. I can just stay away from those. And Aquaphor is basically what I use on my lips. And I love lip gloss. Fenty, Dior, Mary Kay. I love the lip gloss girls, and I get raspy throated. But I'm not eating it. I'm not eating the lip gloss. I promise. And now we're here. I embarrass myself constantly. I don't really like being embarrassed. So maybe that, like, Mariah doesn't like to be embarrassed. So I just kind of make myself forget those embarrassing moments. That I probably should talk to a therapist about that. Those are just some of my moments. We're friends, and I feel like we should just swap embarrassing stories. So here's my very lighthearted, magnificent Monday to tell you all of the magnificent, embarrassing moments in my life. If you want to keep up with me, you can. You can subscribe right now, which you should have already done. I mean, if you made it this far, then you think I'm at least somewhat mediocrely entertaining. So, congratulations. And you can follow me on all of my social media platforms, Marah the Magnificent. And you can follow my podcast, This is Kill, if you feel like it. And we will see you next Monday.